till they bring the PowerPoint, let me say how happy I am to be at IIM Shillong. It has been going on for, I think, about 2 years. The first time I heard was from Ashok to visit. I just couldn't make it. Then Professor Pasar Rai Chaudhary had visited Hyderabad and met me. And from there he has been asking me and I couldn't make it. I think the main culprit of my presence here is Akash. I think he was after me and I tried to avoid him and ultimately found I'm trapped. And I'm delighted to be here. So really thank to Akash for meeting me here. Yesterday I found the two faces, Akash and Akansha, at the airport. And I was absolutely overwhelmed. Going all the way from here, 3.5 hours and coming back with me, I'm deeply, deeply grateful for the kind of a hospitality given and delighted to be here. They were asking me what do I talk and I was confused why I have been invited. Because there are two concepts. One is a current generation and that is a past generation. And I'm sure as a management students, all of you know, there is a Peter's principle which says that everyone rises to the highest level of incompetence. And you can see a person standing before you who has definitely reached the stagnation point of incompetence. So the question was, why me? And I think this hit to me is that probably the young generation needs the experience of the past to make sure they don't repeat the mistakes what we have done. I was invited by Bits Pilani last week to meet the freshers. And one question one girl asked me there, and I remember it, was, can you tell us what is the difference between your generation and our generation? And I couldn't think of any better answer than telling her that my generation had created a lot of mess, and it is the duty of your generation to clean it out. So I have come here with that objective in mind to demonstrate how bad we have been and what goods we can do in the future. Thank you very much for inviting me. I have asked to give a, let me put the lights off so they can be visible. As long as you can see, that's all matters. Thank you.
You can off all the lights. And then you can pick up all the lights.
Thank you very much. I was thinking what to talk here when general topic of entrepreneurship was given. And when I was scribbling something in the last 3-4 days, decided to give a title for Futuristic Mindset, Entrepreneurship and Leadership. I'm expected to share what I have done, so let me start with personal story for 2 minutes and then go over the presentation. The purpose of giving this story again is to encourage you. I think you are looking at a person who has come from a village, non-English speaking. I went to Bits Pilani at the age of 13, and I don't know you will believe or not because none of you probably was born when I was graduated in engineering. I graduated in '64. How many were born that time? So you are looking at that kind of a person who is first batch Bits Pilani. I joined IIM Calcutta as a professor when I was the age of 25. And at 25, I had students who were older to me. So my entire time before marriage used to be spent in the hostels, playing with them the table tennis. I used to be the champion of table tennis in Bits Pilani, so I used to compete all the students in IIM Calcutta. That was the life we started with. But I think the basic evolution has come that when we were at the IMC, all of us were teaching. That time the government pay scales used to be, upper limit for professors used to be 2,500 rupees of basic. Today I think is a different era. And I achieved that in 1976. From 76 onwards for 11 years, there was not a single paisa of increment on the salaries. And it was only the motivation that you enjoy teaching, you are going on. Incident occurs, one of my colleagues, professors, died at an early age and his family was on the road. So decided that this is time to take care of the family and became an entrepreneur. I can assure you there was no mission, vision, objectives defined. It is just the way we went on, jumped in the ocean and then learned swimming. That's exactly the way we went through. Entrepreneurship is nothing but an idea. It's just a passion. You get an idea and you jump into it. I remember we were sitting, 3 of us, myself, one my colleague, Dr. Budhiraju, who was also a professor at IIM Calcutta, later professor at SK, Administrative Staff College of India. Another gentleman called Ravi Koka, who did his master's and PhD from Podium. three of us were sitting and debugging a COBOL program. How many of you know COBOL? At least I have two names. I can assure both of you that your life is taken care of. You become expert in COBOL and you have no issues in getting jobs anywhere in the world. Just, we'll come back to that. And we had a deadline next day. Three of us were struggling, and I think it is me who said that this is absolutely ridiculous. How come three PhDs in computer sciences are sitting here and debugging a COBOL program? How come we cannot have a logic by which we can extract the process logic and the data model out of a given COBOL program? We submitted the report, and for the next 6 months, we worked on creating some kind of a mathematical models to do that. Created a product called COBOL Analyst, and that was around the year 98, 99, when the world was really concerned about the year 2000. You might have heard the word 2000 was a major crash. Nobody knew what to do, and here is a group who was ready with a product to demonstrate what to do. We set up a company, took it to US, went public under NASDAQ, and I assure you within the 1 year of my lock-in period of shares, I sold off every single share of the company and got my money out. Okay, now, this is where the entrepreneurship comes in. You are there in the right time, you had an idea to implement, you went after the idea, remained hungry for about 6 months, total absolutely nothing. What capital we used? We started the organization with 20,000 rupees. I still remember the day when I went to ICSA Ventures. Mr. Made a presentation to them for the venture capital of $500,000. That time they had a project called PEC funding. PEC was a supporting the new ideas to develop further. And when I entered the conference room in Bombay, I had gone, that time there was no PowerPoint. We used to have this written down transparencies on the projector. So I had prepared about 100 of them. Solid, because we are going for $500,000. And the moment I entered, the chairman, Babul, he says, Dr. Agarwal, you have 10 minutes. And I was taken aback. I thought that this is a wastage of time. Anyway, around the table there were a lot of experts sitting, and majority of them, I knew them personally, because they were from academic institutions, IITs, all that. So I told them, I said, look, I'm a professor, I warm up in 15 minutes, I don't know what I can do in 10 minutes. But since you gave me 10 minutes, I'll present to you, so I put down 5 slides. First one, this is the project. Second, chances of success is less than 30%, failure is 70% plus. Whatever I gave you in writing is all garbage, because you wanted me to fill the form, I have filled the forms, but I can assure you, I don't know what I have written, and none of you know what is written, and I challenge you to find out. This is the group behind it, we believe we can do it, and set up. I think that was the time, and they said thank you very much. There was laughter around the table, tremendous amount, and came out. So both of us said, let's go and take our flight back. When we were out of the building, the manager came running away, Shetty, and he said, don't go away, your project proposal has been approved. With this presentation, we got $500,000. What I'm presenting to you is that if you have the idea and you have the credentials to prove that these persons need business, I don't think money is a constraint. And Shetty asked me to say that you have to increase your equity by 2 lakhs. I told him, I said, I don't have the money. Really, I don't have the money of 2 lakhs. How do I put equity of 2 lakhs? He said, no, there's a rule of ICICI, you have to give equity of 2 lakhs. So Mr. Shetty, I'm also telling you that I don't have 2 lakhs. And ultimately he went back and he said, okay, we have found a solution. We'll give you a loan of 2 lakhs to put in equity. And then we'll give you the capital funds. So they gave us a loan of 2 lakhs of rupees, which we put in as equity in our software, and then started working on the problem. Okay, so person like us, when we started, we had no money. Our funding, when we went to the bank, they wanted collateral. And I still remember telling the chief general manager of SBI that collateral is, you can look at you can take my left hand, right hand, or whatever you want, that's the collateral. And he laughed. He said, can you have a policy for 2 lakhs of rupees with a premium of 2,000 rupees a year? I said, that I can. Okay, so we took a LIC policy. Against the LIC policy, they gave us a loan of 4 crores. The reason I'm giving you all these stories to you is that if you have an idea and you have a passion, I think you can break the rules. Not of saying there's no money available and all that. It is all not true. So we'll go through and show you what experiences we went through. But let me share a few things for you. I was thinking I am coming to the current generation, so let me give my perception of your generation. What is the current attitudes? Very, very strong opinion about ideal career paths. Everyone seems to know what they want to do. Not terribly interested in climbing corporate ladders. In our case, we used to be that we want to become so and so, so and so, so and so. Today, I think what matters is a quick money. Can I get a job for 15 lakhs a year or join McKinsey to do 25 lakhs and so on. But nobody seems to have an aspiration that I want to become something on the corporate ladder. Remarkably confident. Seem to know almost everything. I think reality comes after you join a job, after 6 months. How much more to learn there? Assumptions I find today is we will be changing jobs very frequently. In our era used to be, once we join, unless there is a crisis, we will not change jobs. Today, anybody who is in a company more than 3 years, in the case of IT less than 2 to 3 years, something is wrong with the person. And no goals are developing within their jobs or within the same company. This is the kind of a environment I see today, seem to be living in. Let's look at some other sectors of society, not you, but society as a whole. I don't think there's any society on earth which talks of the past as Indians do. We still remain Dhyan Chand Indian hockey. We still remain Ramanujan invention of zero. And we have no idea how much of a mess and what kind of a problems we are in. This is what I call as intellectual arrogance. We live in a total intellectual arrogance, talk of the past laurels, but don't look at and address the issues which face today. Thomas Carlyle is the one who said, greatest fault is to be conscious of none. And I think I strongly believe that our current society, especially the young generation, does suffer some of this. We continue to rationalize our failures, justify incompetence, very strong words, corruption, apathy. We avoid accountability, and very, very serious. Indians are famous for mixing up personal and professional. Very serious issue. I'll give you an example of the horror stories. I sent a boy to Canada for professional work from my company, and he started using the office telephone for personal calls. And since he doesn't want it to show, he went to somebody else's cabin and started using it. It cannot be found. Very quickly it is found, and they don't realize that there is a tracing available of all these kinds of things, and you can say, sorry face for them, sorry face for the company who sponsored them, and in general the personality. Large number of you may be in IT. I assume that the information technology is the largest capturer of current generation in terms of jobs. So I put some parts of IT in the past. When it was in a booming days of IT, this was the symptoms. Everyone wanted to have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 people recruited. Poaching knowledge workers by the company became normal. Examples are again very bad. One of the management schools in Madurai, one of my students from IMC was the director, and he got hold of me and I convinced him that you should send the faculty for training. He sent the 3 people for training conducted by Infosys. At the end of training, all 3 were taken by Infosys. So he came back to me, he said, look, you told me to send them for training. I have lost the 3 faculty. This is what normal. Good part of it, I think I must share with you, that came back and wrote to Narayana Murthy used to be with Ahmedabad as a research associate. I don't know how many of you know. So I knew him from those days, so I wrote him a personal mail. I said, look, this doesn't make sense. 48 hours from the mail, all the 3 persons were returned, and a circular issued in the company that this kind of incident will never be repeated or shared. And that is also a positive part of it. Moonlighting tolerated. The royalty of the organization was totally laughed at. Cases are where the persons were sent to US and JFK airport they were disappeared. They don't know where they went. Some other organization. Everyone forgot what is mechanical, what is electrical. I in Calcutta, I get IIT Kanpur toppers of computer science and mechanical learning to be management. So I said, why have you come all the way to learn to sell soaps? Because ultimately you join Hindustan Levers and others and FMCGs. Why are you leaving your core areas? Same thing. 80% of the engineers produced in the country have gone to software, right? C++, C and Java. Why? left their domain expertise, pay packet went through a roof, and of course HR managers' role became negative. They were not the ones who were asking questions, the students were asking questions. Now this was the IT sector in these days. Let me go to leadership and entrepreneurship a little bit. I think the key is, in any company you go, CEO is not the only one, it is the team on the top. If a CEO is alone, the company will not grow, is the fact of life. So quality of the team in the company is the better predictor of what's going to happen to the organization, not the CEO. So remember that unless and until we learn to work in a team consciously, I don't think you have a place to go, future in life. There's a Peter Drucker who said, I assume everyone knows Peter Drucker, there's nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. The critical thing I will go into a few more slides for you to do is to create a list, what is the mean, what we call it a not to do list, rather than to do list. Make time to think, create your plan in an hour, that will take care of your 23 hours. And this is very, very important. I have started practicing it very seriously. I always get up in the morning, like this morning, and started writing out what I should not do. Not to do list, I think, is probably more important than trying to see what we have to do for the day. You have read the Stephen Covey's book, 7 Best Habits? Who has read the Stephen Covey's book here, 7 Best Habits? One person only, and I'm Shillong. I strongly urge, please pick up the book and read. Please. Don't leave it out, it gives you some ideas. What it talks to you is the ABC analysis of what you should do. And it claims that 80% of the time is spent by you on 20% of the things which are useless. If you can classify where your attention should go, I think that is much better. Why to waste time into 80% items which are not quality and which is not quality? So we believe we can do everything better than others, need to let go. Very, very important. Give you an example. When I joined this company from IIM Calcutta, there was the arrogance. I've been a professor at IIM Calcutta, I can do anything I want, I know everything. And within about 1 month I found that I have zero competence in marketing, zero competence in finance. The only thing I know is a little bit of computers and words. Unless you create a team, I just can't proceed further on. So delegation of authority, let go, allow person independence, I think is a key. This is very important to me. Anybody who demands respect will never get it. Manmohan Singh ji can try his level best to demand respect, I think is a wrong case. We have written him off as a virtually, the individual who was highly respected, one of the best academicians and economists of the country, has come down to a level where a person talks so negatively about him. So leaders who are admired and respected have earned that admiration and respect. Demanding respect does not mean you get it at all. So message is clear. If you do your good work, continue doing it, respect is automatic. I don't think you need to bother about titles or respect. Another thing which I am trying to put to you before we go further, I don't know whether everybody has talked to you. Do you have the strength to say sorry to your juniors, the humility? I think the key issue is, do you have the humility to really go and accept that I am wrong? It's not a question of appreciating some other work, but it is a question of appreciating that you have done something wrong. Okay. Please remember that all the good things you have done in life, one single mistake will kill it off. So doing one good thing is very easy. Consistently doing good thing and not doing wrong is very, very tough. So how to really create your career based on small, small pieces of achievements and ensure that a major scam does not blow out in your life in this, because that will write off every single good thing which you have done. The only thing which I can think of is, I have told you, I asked this question yesterday to Akansha and Akash, I asked all of you again, how much do you read? Now I'm going to throw some names of the books and I like to know who has read them. Okay. The ones I liked, the latest books came out, there's a series of books written by Thomas Friedman. I like to know who has read them. Thomas Friedman, can someone tell me who is Thomas Friedman? Forget about the book.
Word is flat.
Word is flat. I think that, have you read it?
Yes.
gentleman has written sequence of books. He's a writer in the New York Times. I think the kind of things he has written, it changes your style of thinking. I think what you get out of them is much more than any of the IIM faculty and others can get you. I strongly recommend that reading is a habit which you've got to read. You must take a oath that I'll pick up a good book and definitely read one book a week. I think that will make your life. Don't go to Google. Google search gives you superficial reading. If you pick up a book, you can take Kindle, you can take a hard copy, but reading is the only issue on which you can generate the knowledge for. So you have to learn by reading, that's the only thing. I have tried to take mentors and all that, very, very tough process. Okay, every single CEO which has got anything has gone for the mentors, even today. One of my ex-colleagues who was the director of a company, he left his job and he is doing nothing but full-time mentorship of CEOs in Delhi. Because every single person requires some support and help and a brainstorming blackboard where they can start throwing the ideas out. So it's worthwhile doing this. Let's go to related entrepreneurship. Again the question, you know Vinod Khosla? Vinod Khosla, everyone knows? Introduction to Vinod, who was he? IT specialist in the crowd.
Sun Micro. Started with Sun Micro.
He is the one who set up the Sun Systems. Vinod Khosla was the first Indian who set up Sun Systems. He became one of the most admired entrepreneurs from India. He runs one of the largest venture capital company in the world today. Okay. And he has he seemed to have a golden touch. Wherever he puts his fingers on, that seems to give a better return. So if your projects get a support from Vinod Khosla, you are virtually guaranteed a success in that kind of a stature he has created for himself. So one of our companies, Era Software of Agarwal, Vinod was one of the stakeholders and on their board. So we used to sit and gossip around quite a bit. And this once he said this and it hit me, so I put it down for you. The entrepreneurship is about those who dare to dream the dreams and are foolish enough to try and make them dreams true. Entrepreneurship is not a structured task. Entrepreneurship is not that let's start a company and start thinking a structure, what do I do, and you ask 10 people, what should I do? I think you are, from the day one, I think it's negative. The basic form of entrepreneurship is, have you found an idea, have you found an unmet need? You are going around Shillong, can you find something which you believe it was better, it will be helpful. Okay. Now if you start with those kind of ideas, then I think you can gel those ideas and take it further. Unless and until you start with a passion for the idea, I think it becomes very difficult. We'll go further on, let me give you the problems of entrepreneurship. And somebody asked me what you went through, I can assure you every single thing you went through. Are you ready for stress? I think if you are stressed in IIM Shillong, you don't know what the stress is in entrepreneurship. Okay. You should be ready to work long hours, no support. Long hours implies 18, 19, 20, it doesn't matter. Sleep is forbidden. Being your own boss has pros and cons. It's an ego massage, at the same time is a problem. There's no one to go to. Okay. Take risks. What are the risks? Financial. You have no money. There's no paychecks coming to you quickly. You are taking a family risk. The family believes you are crazy. After all, you could get a very good paycheck from the good companies after your degrees. Why are you wasting your time? There's a social risk. When you don't succeed, you are written off in the society. Your social growth. Your psychic risk takes place. Your mind starts getting lost. Am I doing the right thing? Should I change my style? Should I go back? Then of course they can. After 3 years not working, when you go to the company, what have you been doing for the last 3 years? I have been doing this. Oh, you have not succeeded. So that again became a problem. How to restart the good thing. Changing from the employee mindset, looking for a regular paychecks to an entrepreneur is a major change. Now, anybody who starts entrepreneurship on a part-time basis, please don't. It doesn't succeed. Entrepreneurship requires not 100%, it requires 200% of your time and mind. Unless you give that, chances that you will succeed in the future becomes low. There are persons who have succeeded in that, but I'm talking of generalizations. If you have an idea, you want to take it forward, Put your heart in it, put your heart and soul in it. Okay. Now, I'm also telling you that there's a saying, 1 out of 10 succeed. According to me, 9 out of 10 succeed. You take anybody who has put their effort for 3 years in entrepreneurship, they may start with an idea, they may end up some other idea, but eventually they will succeed. It's not that the same idea, you'll keep on changing. One of the boys came from BITS Pilani, fresh graduate in computer science. He was the topper of computer science about 5 years back. And he came and he says, I don't want to do work. I want to be entrepreneur. I said, what do you want to do? And he had crazy ideas. So I didn't want to demotivate him. So I told him, I said, look, the best thing is you create a business plan. And once you have a business plan, then I will ensure you that we bring you in front of a VCs, persons who can give you money. So he came out with a business plan, and I still remember we had a conference in my office when I brought the 2 venture capital companies. One was AP and the other was the Citibank. I said, why don't you listen to it? So I listened to him and they came out with an observation to him. And he also, when he meet me, he said, look, this is exceptional what you have done. Now we give you the feedback on your presentation. There are 2 things required to be entrepreneur successful. One is the passion. Second, clarity of thought and business plan. Passion, you are 250%. Clarity of business plan, you are minus 100%. Please go back and review that again. Now, this is the kind of a cycle you go through. Person never left. Today, he's running a extremely viable project himself, which is defined himself. He has created some kind of a concept of social clubs, physical social clubs, giving the opportunities for people to meet and to discuss, and that has become the thing in the city. So once you start an idea, you come across large number of people, you will change your mindset, you will fine-tune it, you will revise it, eventually you will succeed. And when you succeed, you will never get back. Thinking that all of us, when we went into entrepreneurship, we succeeded, not true. There's a lot of struggles around, but eventually you find out succeed. Now, everyone talks of timing. Please, there's no timing for entrepreneurship. And actually, if there is a timing, the timing is when you are the worst time. When America has gone into total recession, that's the time to be entrepreneur. When India inflation goes up to 15% and our GDP goes to 3% growth, that's the time to be entrepreneur. Please don't look at the booming time and start. Look at the worst time when you start. Give you some examples. Every company I have listed down here, and I'm sure you know them, Disney, CNN, MTV, Hyatt, Burger King, FedEx, name it, Microsoft. Every single one of them has started during the period of economic recessions. So please appreciate that economic recessions have nothing to do with entrepreneurship. It's a question of opportunities, and more opportunity comes when there is a recession. So if you have a thought of going into entrepreneur, time is, whenever the situation is bad, you can find opportunity. I thought it's good to put down the rules by Einstein. He said, out of pleasure, find simplicity. From discord, find harmony. And in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. So whenever you have complex situations, whenever you are failing, the problems are very severe, you will find that major opportunities coming in. If you have the time and effort, you can catch them on. This again is extremely important. In all the management schools, we teach what is a vision. I'm sure in the strategy section, if you have gone through vision, mission, objectives, and so on. Vision is something which cannot change. If you have changing vision, something is wrong with your definition of it. Now, what is the difference between an entrepreneur, founder, and a manager? The managers, the moment they are in trouble, they change it. They say, let's do this. A founder, entrepreneur, whatever vision he has, he will never change. I think classic example of that I thought will be Amazon, Jeff Bezos. I'm sure you have heard the name of Jeff Bezos. Can someone know what is the model Amazon adopted, which was a total failure? What fine-tuning he did to turn it around, and today has become the world leader in the e-commerce kind of a website? When Amazon was started, Jeff Bezos, I still remember his speech. They gave a guidance. Every quarter we will do this revenue. And one of the shareholders meetings multiple years back, he stood and said, I'm extremely sorry to my shareholders. My guidance giving was that I'll make a loss of, let's say, $11 million, and I made a loss only of $7 million. I'm sorry. Next quarter it will not happen. This is the statement made by the chairman of Amazon in this. It was very, very clear that he will not vitiate, he will not change the rules he has set up, and he will continue doing that. With large amount of fine tuning. The very first thing they said, they can do everything. So they started going into sourcing of products, every single thing was by Amazon, it was a total failure. Today, Amazon has gone into technology. They are superb in technology, and they outsource every single thing to others. And they have created a model which has become a worldwide model to really follow in this. So again, if you have a vision of a particular thing, please don't give up because of difficulties. The moment you give up visions, I don't think anything is left after this. Innovation, again I repeat to you, is not the market timing. Innovation comes again on the basis of, can you identify something which you want to solve, some problem you want to solve. I have put it later on, but let me give you an example. What is the major problem of India today? I think the major problem is garbage. I have been thinking about it, who is the largest garbage producers in the country, according to me, Indian Railways. Indian Railways toilet system is something which throws garbage right on the track. It's starting from stations across the country. Okay. Now, if someone can think of it and say, how do I solve this problem? I tell you it is a gold mine. Now, I am intentionally giving you an example away. I'll give you a second example. A very senior person who was the MBA from Ahmedabad, Raman Nanda, came to Hyderabad and called me. He says, I have joined a company called Ramki and One. Have you heard Ramki and One? They are specifically in garbage management. Ramki focuses on garbage management. That's all they do. So I asked Raman, I said, why have you joined a company like Ramki? And he invited me and made a PowerPoint presentation to me about 2 years back. His turnover by garbage management was 750 crores. And when he projected his plan, it was to reach about 5,000 crores in 3 years. Now, what I am presenting to you is it's a question of unmet need, unmet opportunity. It's a question of identifying that and see whether we can try to fulfill that kind of opportunity. Okay. And then rest has become very, very simple. So again, the quote from Charles Darwin, the strongest of the species that survives is not the most intelligent. I think Akansha introduced me as a gold medalist. I can tell you the toppers have not done that well in lifetime. And I can give you a number of examples. Rather the ones who are most adaptable to change. This is very, very crucial. Are you willing to change with the time? If you are not, I don't think it can be done. That example, before I go into the final slide of entrepreneurship, I thought I'll give you something, what each one of these successful entrepreneurs have said. For the information technology experts, when you go out in the market, don't look at technology. I can assure you technology is the least of the things which works on and which anyone is bothered about. When you go to a customer, they are not bothered about the technology. The best of the technology providers have not succeeded. Look at Microsoft. Microsoft technology is, I will say, average or B. It's pretty bad if you really say that. But Microsoft is the leader in terms. It's not the technology by which they have moved, it is something else. It's their marketing muscles, financial muscles, and so on. So look at the solution. Are you able to provide a solution? I think most of you would start talking of technology. Technology should be last. I'm going to give a talk of e-governance in the afternoon. E-governance, you know the budget of Government of India and e-governance for the next 5 years? How much? It's approximately, including public-private partnership, of the order of around 80,000 crores. Okay. Now, when we look at the success factors, we have been evaluating e-governance projects for the last 5 years. The technology has a weightage of less than 10%. Okay. I don't know how many of you are IT specialists, and you are looking at a person who has been in computers. The issues are, technology is very crucial, extremely important. It is a supportive thing, but even having the best of the technologies, you cannot succeed. You have something else. So that's what again and again we keep on saying, when you go to a customer, don't talk of technology. Don't tell him, India was a country where the selection of a PC was a technical job. According to me, toss a coin and decide, whichever you pick up is right. I don't think it matters which particular machine you pick up. The second thing is the systems and processes above else are the critical part. From day one, create your systems and processes. I don't think they come after 2 years or 3 years. I have said continuous, look at your organization continuously, cut flag and systems and processes. Some other quotes. You will succeed if you make others rich. Never try to become rich yourself. Actually, if you try to make others rich, you will become rich on your own. So always give, whosoever your team, large share, 30, 40, 50% goes to them, performance based. When you go to IPO, your team should become rich, not you. Only then you will succeed. The structure from day one should be where persons gain much more, not the one person, but the team as a whole. Ramesh Mehta, gold spot, chap, I still remember last time when I met him years back. He wanted to do a joint venture. I said, there's no common thing between you and me. You are producing gold spot and I am in software. And he says, at least the first half of the word, software and soft drinks are common, so let's join hands. That's the way he started talking. And he always said that anytime he met. Create like a god, command like a king, work like a slave. Again, I'm coming back to you. 20 hours a day is too little. You have to really, really, really slog. Suhash Patel is a professor at Stanford, and the reason I put his name because in my lifetime, probably one of the persons I used as a mentor for myself has been Suhash. Every time I was in trouble, I always went to California and spent some time with him. So I thought this is most appropriate to share what guided at least my life. And from beginning he used to tell me that if you have an idea, if your ideas cannot get somebody else's money, don't put your own money. If your ideas is worth, there will be persons lining up to support you. But if they are not supporting you, why don't you see something wrong with your idea? Don't try to burn your own money from your own pocket and keep on doing that and then later on say, I went bad. So please remember, when you have an idea, get hold of persons, let them cut it to pieces. If they like it, money is not an issue, you will get plenty of money. Okay? Then you can reject the money if you want. Now, this is important, I keep on repeating it. My message to the group like this is, can we make sure that you start thinking? Everyone says we think, but I claim that majority of us don't think, and hence I put the quotes. Many people would sooner die than think. In fact, they do so, without thinking to die. And the next one is very interesting. It was said, if you make people think they are thinking, they will love you. But if you really make them think, that's the end of it. They will start hating you. So, request to you again, give some time to yourself. Start contemplating, start thinking, start criticizing yourself. It's not a group affair. It is a self-criticism affair. Teamwork, very important. Consensus, somebody said yesterday to me, is extremely important. But please remember that if you want to get everyone like you, something is wrong with you. Anybody will have enemies and friends. And trying to get everyone like you is a sign of mediocrity. Essentially what I'm saying is, when you have an idea and you have thought about it, thinking, and you have made up your mind, disagree as often as you can. Don't try to go along with the people. Entrepreneurship, you've got to disagree. You've got to disagree with people every single day, every single time. And not to please, but as a strategy you have to. Now I come to a large group of IIMs, graduate, they go, consulting. I'm sure all of you would like to go to McKinsey's and Ernst & Young and Deloitte. Consultants as a habit, I don't think they add too much of value, number one. Personal perception. Second, consultants have a habit of telling what the time is by taking your own watch. So your thoughts will put down, polish it and give it to you back. Okay. Consultants gives a very, very structured approach, has virtually no creative thinking. All right. I'll give you an example. We are setting up a management institute in Hyderabad under the group called Bhadrupa. And the group badly wanted consultants. So we recruited KPMG. KPMG went through, and the person who was working on the KPMG was a couple of young MBAs from IIM Lucknow and IIM Ahmedabad. And the report came. I don't think they knew exactly what they are doing, but they were consultants, they had to put the report in under the title of KPMG. So I have put down this to you is that don't be worried and carried away by experts. Common sense of yours as an entrepreneur has much more value to me than as a consultant. Experts often possess more data than judgment. All these persons will grab enormous amount of data across the world and give it to you, and by the time you do all the data, you don't know what to do with it. You need a quick and summary analysis, judgment, which comes only by a person who thinks in his own, puts his intuition down and work. And idiots can become so impaired, they produce characters which lead to death the moment they turn to the game. The reality of the situation, don't get carried away by so many consultants. Carry weightage to your own ideas. I think that is more important than any kind of a consultant can be. Give you a couple of messages. This is generally, I find everyone doing it. I hope this is what probably covers in your classes. We look at the past 6 quarters data, and then they say, let's project the next 6 quarters. Am I right? When you do projections, what do you do? You say, let's take 5 quarter data. The CAGR for the last 6 quarters or 6 years has been 23.1%. Let's assume the CAGR for the next 6 quarters, we'll try to raise it to 30%. And then put 30% in Excel spreadsheet and project the data, and the whole business plan comes out. Am I far away? I think that is that. Look at the past, define the future plan. I'm strongly recommending as an entrepreneur, don't do that. I think the moment you do that, I think you are killing up all the opportunities. Never look at the past. Never ever look at the past. Always look at what the opportunity slice is. When you look at the opportunity slice, and then you say, what do I do today to get 30%, 40%, 50% of the slice? It should be totally different. The moment you look at the past, you are bogged down with the past history. When you look at opportunity, you are looking at the new sets of issues and problems and see how do I address them to really take it further. I'm sure it should be somewhere, some courses somewhere, but remember that I always say for my own company and for others on which I happen to be on the board, unless a company generates revenues from a new business, at least about 15% of this every year, the company is not going to survive. Any single company, you've got to have a new entity, new business every year and keep on growing 15-20% of that. So I have stated to you is currently surrenders future businesses when it gets better without getting different. You've got to have a differentiation factor of your company day after day after day. The day you become the same, your revenues may be right, but you are not going to survive too long. So the message is laggards follow the path of least resistance. Everything is nice, cool, let's continue, not grow. Challengers follow the path of greatest opportunity. You have to keep on changing, keep on differentiating. The question being asked, how am I different today with others? Nothing has to be asked every quarter, every month, every year. This is simple. I'm just defining you that era of working alone is gone. You have to work in collaborations and partnerships. So let's finalize this and give you some how to create a future company. Some examples. One of them I have put down here is the way the Charles Schwab changed the world of the finance by creating the entire financial website. The first one was Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab is known as a very, very famous broker in the US. And they are the first one to come up with the brokerage site, which everyone has taken now, ICSdirect.com and so on. But Charles Schwab was the first one. Retail Walmart, kind of thing they have done, differentiated. I have put another word, eco-products, intentionally. I gave you an example of Indian Railways. Now, one organization came forward and said we are going to do something about it. So, defense research development organizations came out with a technology by which they claim that the entire garbage ship put into that with bacteria can be converted to a pure water. And they experimented with it, and I'm talking of the total garbage coming out of the hard, solid and the liquid. Both of them you put in the bacteria, and it gets converted to a pure water, and we tested the water out. And the water quality was drinkable water. I know nobody will drink it ever, but it came out as a drinkable water. Now, with this kind of a technology where the entire issues can be converted, they are commercializing that concept And there's a lady, girl, young girl, Namita, she said, I'm going to commercialize this product. And he has started going to Indian Railways and the cities where there's no sewage systems. And the orders they are talking about for Indian Railways and others of this kind of a technology, if they succeed, I think the turnover may go something like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 crore. So opportunities comes when you say there's unmet need, can we do something about it, and you are able to address it successfully. I don't think there's a dearth of opportunity. So intentionally I put down the food relics, which is the basic concept. Entirely new industry. Amazon is one. I think the story of Flipkart is known to all of you. Flipkart is a couple of students from IIT Delhi worked with Amazon, and they say we will do something of our own. Okay, and the valuations have gone to some couple of $1 billion. Okay. Now what is happening to Flipkart? Flipkart has gone into stagnancy. Why? Because they have created a policy that they will not charge any shipping fees. Now they realize very quickly that it's not working. So now latest example of Flipkart, they started charging. Okay. Second thing is they have not factored in what happens when a competitor comes in. So Amazon is going to enter the Indian market next year. Amazon has a policy that any organizations, retail or others, their pricing have to be cheapest compared to anyone into the market. And they are going to cut the price down, and at that time they are willing to take losses of millions of dollars year after year to enter the market. In that situation, what will happen to Flipkart, they have to start thinking now. Amazon has entered China. Their delivery model, they didn't know what to do in China. Can someone know what they have done for the delivery of the products in China when their routine courier service totally failed? They have created a delivery chain of bicycles. And the entire products in the China are shipped on the bicycle route in that fashion. Okay, and they are writing off a couple of $1 million a month to enter China. And the same thing they are going to do for India also. So Flipkart, they have to start worrying about it now. If they wait another 1 year or 1.5 years, I think they have to start asking the question, how are we different? I have put down another one called Redbus. Redbus again is a success story. The e-commerce bus booking ticket system. The average age of employees of Redbus, I think, is about 26 and a half. 26 and a half, and look at what they have done. eBay, I have put an Indian company called Gharpe.com. Somebody has heard Gharpe.com? Gharpe.com came out only about a year back by again 4 or 5 youngsters. Again, averages of 25. I have been involved with them into the initial project assessment and mentoring. They had a very nice concept. They say e-commerce is increasing, internet penetration in the going up, but resistance by a person to use a credit card is very high. Even today, educated people, they don't want to use credit card on the net. And they did some research and they found that out of a person who go to the net, not more than 25% you want to use a credit card. Still the Indians want to use cash. So they said, we will pitch in our opportunity that we will allow you to do e-commerce without using credit card and pay in cash. And that's why they got Gharpe.com. So they have gone into Redbus, they have gone to various vendors. When you go to the website, you get options, credit card, debit card, net banking. One of them is coming is cash. The moment you tick mark cash, the entire data goes to Gharpe.com. They take it over, they deliver the products, pick up the cash, and charge commission to the product. They have grown, I think, about 450% in the last about 3 quarters. They started with 3 employees. Today they happen to have about 120 employees. They are covering 5, 6, 7 cities. And when I asked them, I was impressed by them. I said, why did you allow me to put some money into your organization? They smile and say, we already have so many offers, we don't know what to do. Okay. This is a success story in the last about 1.5 months. Redefine boundaries, time bound, edutainment was done. The whole concept, who thought about it that with the internet coming in, the entire concept of home movies, recording the video, recording the TVs will become major segment in India. The traditional cable, all them will be out. Now, anybody attached that area, I think Netflix copy in India is going to be probably a next goal. Anybody who has the courage to do that, I think you will find plenty of opportunities. Let me conclude. It's easy for me to say, but difficult. I don't do it myself, but I have to give a suggestion, so I have to give something. Never speak when you cannot listen. Problem with Indians is we don't know whether we do this or this. This is yes. This is a major problem. We have to learn how to know. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you say no to something important. That's where I am asking you to think. The only place you will reach if you follow the crowd is exit. So again, a message. You have to be different. You've got to be different. If you're not different, follow the crowd. And best time to plant a tree was 20 years back, and probably the next best time is today. From my side, the best time to be entrepreneur was after your graduation, and the next best time is after you graduate from IIM Shillong. Don't go for a job, become an entrepreneur. So it's appropriate for all of you. If you think you can, and if you think you can't, it's your bad. Nobody else can touch you on that. And finally, everyone talks of this. Please don't forget, there is a book published, Built to Last, by research by Harvard University. And Built to Last takes a story of the most successful organizations in the world and find out what are the common characteristics, why they succeed. And a very interesting story they found, but the basic thing in every one of them they found was that unless and until there is very strong integrity, moral values and ethics, sustainment of an organization is not going to be possible. Indian conditions, with all the corruptions, with everything, tough. Okay. But if you want to be somewhere there in the future, if you want to grow, I think you have no options here. It is absolutely essential. So what is my final wish to you? I do wish that the number of leaders and entrepreneurs, maybe the next Narayana Murthy's and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs are sitting right here. Okay. And I do want to remember and said I met you once. In the future, I'll be proud of it. So my message, please change yourself and then change the world. That's your message. Thank you very much, and I'll take any questions here. I hope I have not exceeded my boundary. 45 minutes to 1 hour per day. Yeah.
Sir, in one of the slides you told that if your idea is very good, then someone else will invest in that. But I met a few people who always, who mentored or tried to tell me that if you're starting something, you should start with your own money, or like they call it bootstrap or something. I mean, so what as per you is the time when a VC should enter or should is it required?
It all depends on what you want to do. Remember that VCs, venture capitalists are vultures. I call them vultures because their objective will be to take largest part of your company for their own benefit. And I think they are giving you money, so why not? Okay. So your strategy in terms of what time to reinvest, what time to call them depends on what percentage of your company want to die. Now, we always say to you is that you start your organization, you bring it to a level where the valuations of the company are decent enough so that you can bring so-called angel investors who come equivalent to you. And once you come to a proper level where you want large amount of money, then only you go to VCs at a high level of valuations. Now in the beginning when you started organizations, and let's say you are putting in 2 lakhs, and you call a VC, you put in 2 lakhs, he is equal partner, very soon you'll be out there. Okay. So the tricky thing is that how can you nourish an idea confidentially and increase its valuation. I'll give you some examples. I think this is a personal family example, but nevertheless is a good example. A group of about 5 IIT Kanpur graduates, one of them was my nephew. They went to US, they did his master's PhD from Stanford and started a company. You have heard the name Jungli? Jungli Corporation. I still remember when Jungli was formed, and I used to be at that time with IIM Calcutta. I used to go there and I found that they have vitiated every single rule of software architecture, software engineering, what is on earth. They have no idea of processes, they have no idea what software engineering looks like, and I used to tell them what you are doing. And very quickly I realized that these 4 or 5 persons are brilliant. And they don't need any processes, they don't need any ideas. When they are working together, they can throw away all the ideas, cut time or cost, and create it. After about a year, when the ideas came out, how the idea started, they looked at the net and they said there's so much of data on the net, but there's no choice on the net. If I want to buy a camera, I can look at Minolta, Canon, but there's no one on the net who says, should I buy Minolta or Canon? Can I have a choice? Can I have a comparison? And they started working on that. And they were successful. So once I went to them and I said, look, you people are doing it, you're doing a great job, you have good technology, but you will not go anywhere. You have to create someone who can commercialize the technology. And fortunately for them, they heard and they brought in a CEO. After 6 months of that, they sold the company for $750 million to Agarwal. Okay. So you need the right timing of that, depends on the value. Otherwise, there's no issues at all. You can get money now, anytime you want. There are angel investors available in India. We have Hyderabad angels, we have Delhi angels, we have Mumbai angels, we have Chai. We have created a concept called Big Spark, where 25-30 of us have committed to spend between minimum of 5 lakhs and maximum of 2 crores to any initiative of alumni coming in, which we evaluate and find good. Lastly, in the last month, we identified 2 of them, and the funding of 3 crores each has been awarded. Next round is starting in October. Okay, ISP has the same, other IMs also have the same. I don't think the money is a criteria. If you want startup centers, DataQuest is starting a venture called, they will call it, this is on the drawing board, but let me say it, they call it DARE Accelerator. DARE is an entrepreneurship magazine, some of you might have read it. They are starting a DARE Accelerator where they are going to help persons like you to have startups. They will mentor you, they will give you seed capital of 5, 6, 7 lakhs, takes 10% of the equity in of that, and nourish you. So if you have an idea, and you can get that idea presented to the like-minded people, I don't think you have a problem. Challenge for you, do you have an idea? Yes, sir.
Sir, good that there are people in the private sector who are ready to help, but the issue is, and when I always discuss with my friends, if you want to start something in the public sector, for example, you want tenders for the railways, or anything in the public sector, we believe that there is a lot of lobbying required.
Right.
Sir, how do you suggest to go about in that domain? Because public sector, you know that they are inefficient in a big way. Now, our smallest problems, you can do it in an efficient manner. So there's a lot of scope there, but lobbying.
The real life challenges, can you hide away?
We are, but what's the solution?
So again, let me, I think the easiest way to answer is through an example. There's an organization came up in the last 7 months. They call it Right Supply Solutions in Jaipur. And their objective is only to create drinking water supply into villages where the drinking water does not exist. And it's a commercial company. Okay. And they have to deal only with the water departments of various states. They have grown in the last 6 months heavily. We offered them money as an angel investor. They refused because they say the valuations are giving us too low, and they are succeeding. Now, dealing with the government is a challenge. A person like me doesn't want to deal with the government at all, and I strongly believe India grows when government sleeps. If the government is awake, I think they will stop us growth. To give you another example where it is a bottleneck, my own company, we took the first e-governance project from Madhya Pradesh. And I don't want to name the people, they demanded that the first 1 crore rupees of cash to be given to even consider the company for tender. How do you manage that? How do you address that issue? I think it has to be addressed.
Sir, don't you feel that when we just pass out, okay, people like you have actually proved themselves, you have lots of contacts already built, you are an academician, then it's pretty easy for you, but people like us who just pass out and they want to do something in the public sector, it's going to be very difficult even to reach to that.
Don't worry about it. If you have an idea to solve, you will find tremendous amount of support in all these. That's where I'm saying get involved with the like-minded mentors, and those are the areas they can come out to your help tremendously. For example, let's say in our own group, let's say you take the Agarwal angels or you take Delhi angels, there are persons who are, persons like Saurabh, Rohit, Pradeep, they are all experienced. And they are all accessible to you people to tell you in terms of how to address the issue. And there is no cost for that. See, there is plenty of passion for helping out. We strongly believe that India will grow only when there are entrepreneurs. By getting a job, you get 1 paycheck. By creating a company, you are giving 10 paychecks. And I think that's the only growth for India. So yes, there is a problem, not a very simple one to solve, but I think to me that's the mechanics and that can be taken care of. I can't give you solutions for that. Yes, sir.
Sir, you told for the projections of the financials will not consider the past performance. So, but how will we quantify the opportunities?
Okay. But whatever I say, you filter it down, please. Because in lectures you say a lot of things, and then you start applying, you will have problem. What I meant was is that let's take the case of mobile space. There's an organization who has gone into the mobile space and say we want to do something about the mobile, because you know very well that all the three instruments, like a personal computer, the mobile cell, and a laptop, slowly they are merging. And already the Samsung tablets have come which has all three, and the size will keep on reducing. So prediction is in the next 4 or 5 years, there will be only one single instrument. Okay, so anything you do today, you have to start addressing what do I do in the mobile space. Now, how will you address that? You have to look at the opportunity, what you are targeting on. Now, one organization came out and they say in Delhi, they came out and stated that we want to attack the coaching classes by mobile. Whether it makes sense or not, I'm not asking you to look at, I'm just giving an illustration. And I'm giving an illustration which occurred in the last 12 months. Okay. So when we were discussing about it, we started saying if we attack the coaching classes, let's say one sector, and we looked at chartered accountancy. In chartered accountancy, there are about a number of students paying tuitions in Delhi for coaching. One subject is about 15,000 rupees, and they are about 1 lakh or 2 lakh or 3 lakh students who take their tuition through video conferencing and all that. Now, even if you get a market share of 15%, look at the numbers we are talking about. So when you are looking at a mobile space and you say, past was this, we will grow by 20%, you don't know what you are doing. Now they are going to the population, 65% of the, 56% of the Indian population is below 17 years. I hope you are aware of that. Below 17 years of age, and then you look at how many are the target segment for that sector, you will find something of the order of 40-50 million. Now out of 40-50 million, if you get a market share of 10%, which is 4 million, and you charge them about 10,000 rupees a year, what is the quantum you are looking at? Now if you look at that opportunity and then plan and say, how do I address that opportunity, it has become much easier than saying, let's start with 0, and then I'll grow 10% a year. It's a different ballgame. All right? Yeah.
Sir, if we take the case of India, we find that the number of business plans or anything that come up, mostly they are in the sector of agriculture, hospitality or e-commerce. But if we consider some other countries, then they come up with other plans like financial plans, like models in finance, so that they can be helpful to the banking sector, and other like hospital sector and technical sector. These three sectors are really lacking in B plans in India. So, like, is there a chance that there will be trend reversal, or what can be done to reverse this trend?
You're asking me to do crystal ball gazing. Okay, let's do some crystal ball gazing. Okay. Again, my questions will be always on reading, reading and reading. Have you read the book by Thomas Nashville? You see, every time you ask me a question, I'm going to throw a question back on this. Thomas Nashville is a person who does the crystal ball gazing. The first book he wrote, he predicted the boom of .com, and it happened. Okay. The latest one, cutting the story short, he predicted that there will be opportunities in the future. And can you guess what kind of opportunities he has predicted for the next decade? There are only 2 of them, he said, will have major opportunities. One is a law, legal, and second is religion. Now, if you ask me where to focus on as an entrepreneur in India, anything to do with religion, you will make money. Anything to do with law, you will make a lot of money. Now let me add 2 more sectors to that if you are going. I saw some posters in your institute on global impact, global warming and all that. Anyone knows how much of carbon you produce every year? One human being produces how much of carbon every year? I'm looking at the self-analysis, how much of carbon we produce every year. in all capacities, you're driving, traveling, eating, whatever habits you have. Make a guess.
70 kilos.
Huh?
70.
20 kilos?
70.
70 kilos, okay. I think that shows. One human being produces 1 elephant worth of carbon every year. 1 elephant. That is the quantum of carbon. Okay. So when we start looking at the era of the world, where the developed nations like America, Europe, they have really spoiled the environment, which is a long-lasting impact, and now they want to impose controls in the world. Let's say we go to equality now, which is not acceptable to India and quite a few more. It's a major area. So my strong recommendation to all of you will be that if you are looking for entrepreneurship opportunities, look at areas like energy, look at areas of the type of water, look at of these kind of agriculture. Best area to enter in India is agriculture. Now agriculture, you start from production to storage. Somebody wants to make a quick money, go and set up warehouses, air conditions, proper warehouses. You will never look back. Because I know the production is very tough in farming, because the laws does not support the production in now because of the land ceiling act. Right? So you can always find areas where to push in. Now, only last point on your financials. Financials, the products created by America has killed their economy. Okay, so all the researchers sit and create new product, derivatives and all that. What is derivatives? Derivatives, according to me, is cheating the public as much as you can. Okay, very nice word. Okay, so don't go for finance. Finance industry is in doldrums. Revival of finance in America will take another 15-20 years. Okay, I don't think that is the right positioning. Personally, I don't believe that. There's no job for finance persons in America. Are you aware of that? Do you agree, all of you? The managing directors of Goldman Sachs, at least one of them I know, have been delivering pizzas to earn money. They were delivery boys of Pizza Hut. Okay. The person who is above the age of 32 and who has been released by the organizations have no jobs. My son is in that area. He is a graduate from Wharton. He worked in JP Morgan, started his own company. I've been telling him, why don't you change the job? He said, my age job, forget it. No jobs. Okay. So financial industry in US is in major short. It takes 10-15 years to come out of it. Okay. And the best part is India does not follow that, hence we are safe. So please don't turn India into the same kind of thing. But there are plenty of issues and problems. It's very tough to talk about. There are opportunities all over. All I can tell you is they don't come on the platter. You'll have to go through, find out, work on it and see what makes sense to you. All right?
So, I'd like to correct one point that you mentioned during your presentation. You said if there is no VC funding, in that case there is some problem with the idea that you have.
I'm not saying VC funding.
As in you said, there is no one to fund you, so you should rethink on your idea.
Absolutely.
And then on the side also you said that let's not follow the experts. I personally want to say that you see, if you are passionate for an idea, because one of the friends told me was this fact that no one can judge you who you are actually, what you actually want, what you actually think. So probably the other person on the other side of the table cannot judge that what my idea actually holds. We will not be able to see it, but I know what I want to do with that idea, where I want to reach. So probably I should go with that quote which I mentioned.
Let me rationalize what he's saying. Number one, obviously, the best part of life, and especially with all of you, is agreeing to disagree. So number one, that is very important, because unless we agree to disagree, there is no fun in life. Let me give a rationalization of what I said to you. Majority of the people, when they begin, if you have deep pockets where you can sustain expenditures on an organization or idea for a long duration, there is no issues. If Mangalam Birla wants to experiment with an idea and says, I will put in 100 crores to experiment, I have no issues. Now let's look at some of us who start with an idea with, let's say, 50,000 rupees in my pocket, or 1 lakh rupees in my pocket, that's my limit. Okay, now what do I do? What I'm saying is, when you have an idea, when you have a plan, go and get like-minded people and let them reflect on the ideas and allow them to criticize your ideas. Now, if they don't like your idea, maybe something is wrong with it. Correct it. If you embed yourself and say, whatever I think is right, you may be right and you may be totally wrong. But by the time you come to know you are wrong, you have lost everything you have. Okay, so at early stage of the game, get the people, let them reflect on it. If they have a lot of money, doesn't matter. Take 1 rupee. Okay, for example, let's say you go to Vinod Khosla and you can get $100 invested by him. That $100 is worth 100 million. So it's not a question of quantum of money. It's a question of a person is saying, I have heard you, I like your idea, and go ahead. That's what is it. Is it okay? And I didn't say don't get expert. The word used was don't get buffaloed by the expert. That means don't get overawed by them. Okay, experts are experts, they will always be around, but when you listen to them, they are also human beings. So filter that. Always go to experts, our job should be zero. We should survive. Any other question, please? Anybody who is working to be entrepreneurs, I am in this group. Only one, very good. You see, one thing I found a change in majority of the colleges is that a large number of students who are working in entrepreneurs. A large number of them have started initiatives during their student days. And if that can happen, then you are experimenting, it creates some kind of an environment within IIM Shillong where some of you are experimenting with it at a very low cost. After you graduate, your choice, you want to continue with it or not. So why not to experiment, why not to explore and get into that mindset. Bring your angel investors, VCs for interactions. Let them look at you, let them tell you what they think. And out of that, maybe about 10% of the batch goes to entrepreneurship. That will be fantastic. All right, I think there are no hands up, so I guess, and the time is already close 12, so I guess we have reached the time. So once again, I don't know how to say thanks to you. For me, being called and being here with all of you has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for giving me a opportunity. Thanks a lot.